Hey kids, today we're going to learn a new thinking map. We're going to learn how to do a double bubble map. We use a double bubble to compare and contrast. And another way to say compare and contrast is find things that are the same and different. To make this easy, we're going to use two people you know pretty well, myself and Mr. C. Now, how you begin a double bubble map is with two bubbles. They're not right in the middle of the page though. They're a little bit separate from each other. I'm going to start Mr. C's bubble a little bit to the left of center. As always, I write his name, then I write the bubble around it. I'm going to then put my bubble not right next to it, but about 2 finger spaces away from it. So, Mr. Harold, make a bubble around it. And notice how the two are not touching. There's a reason for that. In that space in the middle, we are going to compare. That means find things that are the same. So, here's one thing that is the same about both Mr. C and I. We are both teachers. I put a bubble around that, and I connect it to me because I'm a teacher, and I connect it to Mr. C because he is a teacher. Something else that I could compare, that find the same, that is the same for Mr. C and I, is that we both love the Broncos. I'm going to write a bubble around it, and that will connect to me, and it will connect to Mr. C. These are things that we can compare. They are the same. Now we are going to contrast on the outside. This means find things that are different. So let's start with Mr. C. Mr. C is from New York. That's where he grew up before he moved to Denver. Try to very neatly write it and make a bubble around it. That connects to Mr. C. It does not connect to me because I'm not from New York. I am from Kansas. I lived there before I moved to Colorado. So I write from Kansas, put a bubble around it, and connect that to me. Something else is a difference between Mr. C and myself, something else we can contrast. He drives a white car. I drive a silver truck. Two things that we can contrast. The truck is connected to me. The car is connected to Mr. C. Mr. C, his favorite sport to play is ping pong. And so I'm drawing a ping pong paddle because remember, it's okay to draw pictures with thinking maps. It's not a spelling test. It is a way to get your thinking down on paper. I connect the ping pong paddle to Mr. C, and my favorite sport to play is basketball. So I'm going to draw a basketball. Of course, I could also write it out in words. This is just to remind you that it's okay to draw pictures, especially if they're really long words, when you're doing thinking maps. I connect that to me. So you see how the things that are different between Mr. C and I are on the sides, and the things that are the same that we compare with Mr. C and I are in the middle. So I want you to try to do one of your own. And how we're going to do this, there's a few steps, so pay attention. I want you to pick a family member. It can be the same family member you did a bubble map about, or it can be somebody different. It's up to you. Make a circle map. This is where you are going to define things about that family member. It's the first map we used. If you don't quite remember how to do it, just go back to that video. You then make a circle map for yourself. One for a family member, one for yourself. So it will look like this. 2 circle maps, one for you, one for a family member. Your circle map defines different things about you. Your family member circle map defines different characteristics about them. You will then use the information on those circle maps to make a double bubble map. One side of the double bubble map for you, the other side of the double bubble map for your family member. You will fill in the sections that are the same, that you can compare between the two of you, and you will fill in the sections that are different, that you contrast for the two of you. And when you have that all filled out, you will be able to compare and contrast yourself and a family member. This would also be a great thing for you to do with a family member. So please ask your brother or ask your mom or your grandma or your cat to do these circle maps and this double bubble with you. It's fun to teach, you'll see. And then tomorrow, be ready to compare and contrast by making a double bubble map in response to the literature that we're going to read.